Que bueno, mi gente, Calix Boxing here. Hit that sub button for nightly boxing videos. We are live on the Google Hangout. Hit me with those comments after the video. Still not technical enough with this to get the chat up live, so my apologies for that. But I wanted to do this video real quick tonight because I made the video last night for the Badou Jack versus Nathan Cleverly fight that's coming up on Saturday night on the Mayweather-McGregor undercard. And to me, that's going to be the fight of the night. A very good matchup between two good fighters, good solid fighters at 175. Badou Jack moving up from 168 to 175. And I was actually watching a Carl Froch interview. He's out there in Vegas. He was talking trash about Andre Ward again. I don't know why he continues with that, but he just can't let the Andre Ward thing go. But Carl Froch, for you subscribers of the channel, you know how high I am on Carl Froch and how much I respect him for the long streak of really good fights that he went on, the competition that he fought throughout his career, and how he maximizes potential. Not a super special guy, not a super talented guy boxing wise, but a guy who maximizes potential and somehow went through that murderer's row with only 2 losses on his resume. And a guy who reminds me of this guy in that way is Badou Jack, a guy who's also in Vegas this weekend fighting against Nathan Cleverly. A guy who has fought, this is going to be his 5th tough fight in a row. And in boxing today, it's hard to find guys who fight tough fight after tough fight after tough fight in that long of a streak. Generally, you see guys fight a tough fight, take a long break, or fight a tough fight and then fight an average opposition and fight a tough fight. That way, sort of a roller coaster type thing. But first of all, let's look at Carl Froch's streak. He went on that streak, I think it was like a 5 or 6 year streak where he fought, what is this, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 straight tough fights. He fought Pascal. He fought Jermaine Taylor, Andre Durrell, Mikkel Kessler, Arthur Abraham, Glenn Johnson, Andre Ward, Lucian Bute, Youssef Mack, Mikkel Kessler, George Groves, and George Groves. Back to back to back to back to back to back. There's not an easy fight in that streak. We're talking 5, 6 years there. 12 straight fights where this guy did not take a break. Consistently fought, stayed healthy, consistently fought, and consistently tested himself. And Badou Jack looks like he's going to be that type of guy. And it's similar in that, not similar in style. Carl Froch was a more fun fighter to watch, a little more entertaining. But they're similar in that neither one of them has super special talent to where it's going to stick out at you. And that could be a good thing. They're more vulnerable, so they're a little more fun to watch. And also, it lures competition in. Guys in that division are going to be looking for fights and looking for fighters to fight, and they're going to point to that guy because he's not dangerous. He's not super special. But he is solid. He's going to give you a name on his resume. And they're both similar in that they're solid enough to beat these guys, but they're also not super special to where they're going to lure guys in. They're similar in that aspect. And you look at Badou Jack's last 5 fights: Anthony Durrell, George Groves, Lucian Bute, James DeGale, and now Nathan Cleverly. He's on one of those streaks over a 2-3 year period. What is it, 2 years now, 3-year period where he's fighting good competition after good competition. And the only mark on that resume is the draw to DeGale, which I thought he lost that fight, to be honest, but was competitive in that fight against a very good fighter in DeGale. Very good fighter. A guy who's also going to be moving up to 175 soon. And the thing about Jack as well is he's moving into a top-heavy division in 175. He's moving into a division where if he gets this trinket, if he wins this fight against Nathan Cleverly and collects this trinket, there'll be unification fights there for him. And there'll be other guys in the top of the division who don't have belts now who will be wanting to get that trinket from him and leverage themselves back into unification fight. So, I mean, look at Andre Ward's there. Adonis Stevenson's there. Sergey Kovalev is there coming off of a loss to Andre Ward. So he's going to be wanting to bounce back, and he might point to Badou Jack and say, I want that fight. Sullivan Barrera's there. Fonfara's there coming off of a loss or two. So there are guys there that Badou Jack can be competitive with or even beat and add to this streak of fights moving into 175. So he could put together one of these 7-8 fight streaks to where even if he comes away with some losses, you can still look at him and say, man, that guy fought a tough resume. And he came out of that with only 2 or 3 losses maybe. So just a good streak of fights that Badou Jack's putting together. And I'm not saying he's Carl Froch. To me, what Carl Froch did over that 12-fight streak by coming away with 10 losses, that put him in the Hall of Fame. That put him up there with Joe Calzaghe as guys who are legends at 168. Carl Froch did that with that 12-fight streak, and he tested himself, and he maximized his potential and exceeded expectations. So props to Carl Froch for that. In my opinion, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But Badou Jack is far from that at this point. But who's to say if he does this for another 3 years and he continues to win fights that he can't put himself in that conversation? So props to Badou Jack for another tough fight he's taking on, and I think he'll beat Cleverly on Saturday night. We shall see. Hit me up. Let me know what y'all think about this. Peace.